Saturday before Week 12 Sunday is the Pump Fake. Jared Bailey, joined by Nick Faber, co-host of Honolulu Blues. It's good to see you, my friend. We look like what happens if you order Pat McAfee and Travis Kelce off of Wish.
We're the 2.0 versions.
Yeah.
Light versions.
We're back in the mid '90s whenever Diesel and Razor Ramon left for WCW and they wrote out fake Diesel and fake Razor. That's us.
That's us, dude. That's literally the way to be. Thanks for having me, dude.
Oh, thanks for doing this with me, buddy. I've been wanting to do this for a little bit, so I'm glad that we're finally doing it. How are you?
Oh, I'm living the dream, man. The holiday season is in full swing in my house, and I love that. So we're just singing carols every morning and watching movies every night, you know?
What's the go-to Christmas song? Mine, I tweeted this earlier. Santa Tell Me by Ariana Grande is the best Christmas song ever.
Santa tell me, are you really there? Oh, that's
so goddamn good.
Dude. Yeah, no, I always, every year I have a different kind of like Christmas song that I get really hyped about. Like last year it was by the Waitresses. I can't even think of the name of the song, but it's super upbeat, super fun. This year, I'm really liking one. I've been listening to it so much. It's in Elf, actually. And it's like...
Is it the one that they sing together when she's in the shower?
No. It's a old-timey, like, blues guy, and he's singing about a penny. I can't even, I'm not even going to try to sing.
I'm just going to type in Christmas song penny and see what happens.
Yeah, because it's got to be the first one that comes up.
It has to be.
And it's such a phenomenal song. It's like... God, I can't even think of it. It's when he's walking around in New York when he first gets to New York in the movie Elf, just for anyone who can reference
it. Let's see. I'm saying Christmas is coming, parentheses, the goose is getting fat.
Damn, that's not it, dude.
Not it.
No,
there's John Denver and the Muppets, Christmas is coming.
Oh, my God.
I'm saying a lot of Christmas is coming.
Okay. Pennies from Heaven. There it is.
Pennies from Heaven. Okay, so I was incorrect.
Pennies from heaven, do. Pennies from heaven, do. That's how it goes.
I haven't watched Elf in long enough to remember.
We'll watch Elf, and you'll hear that song. You'll be like, "Oh, Nick really likes that song." And I'm like,
do you have a go-to Christmas movie, like a rotation?
Yeah, well, so we have a list in our house, 37 Christmas movies, the 37 days of Christmas, and that includes a lot of the new movies that came out. Like I just watched the new Christmas Story, A Christmas. And
was that good?
That was great. Just a really well done, not reboot or remake or anything, just a number to a look in their life 30 years later, and I liked that a lot. But Elf is always my go-to. Elf and Home Alone are my top two Christmas movies of all time. And then National Lampoon's is right up there too. Gotta love Christmas. Anything Chevy Chase, any National Lampoon is just hilarious to me. So.
Have you seen it's on Netflix, it's called Klaus. It is so good. I don't know if you've seen it, but I highly recommend it. Is made its way
animation
yes,
one, right?
Yeah.
It's actually on our list. I don't think I've actually ever saw it, but when I was
going to
holiday movies,
it
was like top 10, top 15. Yeah, of all time. I was like, what is this movie?
Yeah, dude, it's a really cool, I don't know, the coming of story in terms of like how Santa came to be, dude. The ending made me cry. I hope it makes you cry. It was such a good movie. Loved it a lot.
I'm such an emotional person, man. I fucking cry when I watch commercials these days, dude. I've been like, damn it, that was a great Budweiser commercial. That dog really did need to get to those horses. I tell you what.
Have you seen? I don't know. I mean, I'm a big stand-up guy. Sebastian Maniscalco. He talks about how he's the emotional one in his relationship, and he's got like a really thick, like Chicago Italian accent. He's like, "Undercover boss, forget about it. My water," and that's so goddamn funny.
Boss, forget about it. That's so funny, dude. Oh my God, that is me though, dude. I just watched. Oh my God, it was the Christmas Story, and at the end I cried for that, dude. And I just cried.
Story. Oh, like the newer
one, yeah, Christmas Story, Christmas or whatever the fuck it's called. That just made me cry like a week ago. So like I'm not scared to show. I'll cry when I get emotional. You know what I mean?
I cried at the end of Vampire Diaries. That shit had me bawling.
Vampire Diaries. I love you, Jared. That's awesome.
It's my favorite show of all time.
Hell yeah. Shout out Vampire Diaries. They don't pay us to say that.
They don't. No, those the two main characters have a bourbon now. Fun
Is
fact.
that right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Have you tried it?
No, it doesn't sell in PA yet. They're still like expanding and whatnot. So I'm waiting for it to get into PA, and I'm definitely gonna try it.
Yeah, that's fun.
We're 5 minutes in. We haven't said a word about football. Is
this a football show?
Oh. This is a football show. But yes, you are a Detroit Lions fan. They played on Thanksgiving, as they do every year. Yeah, that's a nice little pen. I like that. For those listening to it as a podcast, just a little flag pennant. I enjoyed that.
We're ready to go.
Not the win. They didn't come away with the win that I'm sure everybody was looking for, but they looked much more competitive over the last month. They had their first 3-game win streak since 2017. Aiden Hutchinson's looked really good. Kirby Joseph looks like a nice pickup for them. Jared Goff playing better than I think most people expected. Amon-Ra St. Brown. They've got pieces. Your takeaways from the Lions thus far and what you expect going forward, maybe into the offseason, what you expect from them.
It's really tough. As a Lions fan, you almost can't just look at it from just an NFL fan or from like a Lions fan's perspective, because you think it looks, and for a lot of people would probably say, look at the 3-game winning streak. They look competitive against Buffalo. They have a good foundation. They have a great building block. Salim McNeil looks good. Rodrigo looks good. The offensive line is one of the best in the NFL. We still haven't even unleashed Jameson Williams yet. DeAndre
He's coming back soon, right? I feel like he started practicing.
Yeah, he's supposed to be back the next couple weeks. They said December we might see him. I don't even know if I like that, to be all honest. I'm almost on the board of just keeping him under wraps until next season. No film on him. We don't need any film on him. Not one thing. But what is it? What it is. But as a Lions fan, we have had great foundation and great building blocks year in and year out. Our coach, Dan Campbell, really has kind of motivated this team and built this culture, but continuously makes boneheaded timeout decisions and game management miscues. And for the first year, we were like, it's all right. It's a rookie year. Second year, this year, it's like, okay, I don't really want to see it again. And then it continues to happen. And we're like, all right, but I mean, I guess we're winning. So I guess we can't really complain about it for the last month. It's this weird, we're in this weird flux. And with Jared Goff playing somewhat all right, that buys a lot of Lions fans in. Like, he can be the guy, but then he makes that one errant 3rd and 1 play on the biggest play that we need. And that's what he continuously does, is he'll keep you in games, but he fails to make those clutch performances. We're crazy. I can't even really tell you how I feel, because I am mute to all feelings for the Lions. They have killed me.
Anybody tuning into the game right now, I mean, if CJ Stroud is available for them, that seems like a smart choice.
Yeah, Stroud or Young, which one are you on?
Well, Benjamin Raven's on Bryce Young. I'm in on both. I mean, I think both of them are going to be fine. I mean, as a Steelers fan, I'm biased and hoping that they just Josh Rosen, Kenny Pickett, and take one of them if they're there.
Right.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I think both of them are going to be really good. Will Levis is kind of that wild card that people are like, he could be something, but at the same time, he's been inconsistent. But I think that Young and Stroud, whichever one you want to put 1, 2 in any order, I think both of them are going to be pretty good.
Jeff Risdon, or Risdon, I guess I'm sorry if I say his name wrong, but he's a writer for the Lions. He made a comparison that really stuck with me. Compared Levis to Paxton Lynch, and it's a pretty good comparison. The more I watch it, the more I see it, and I'm like, oh man. But what do you think about the Florida kid, Richardson? I think his name is.
Yeah,
this would obviously be like a mid-round, and not so much for the Steelers per se, but just
sure.
You know what I mean, in overall, right?
As an athlete, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
And people look at the box score from last night and be like, oh, this kid's terrible. He made a lot of throws that were there. A few of them were dropped. He showed that he has a cannon. I don't know. I feel like he's kind of like, if I can make any sort of comp, he feels like Denard Robinson at Michigan, where he's just uber athletic, can make a ton of plays with his feet. Is the arm talent going to be there to be an NFL quarterback, or is he going to be, flexed into, a wide receiver, running back, whatever, what have you role? He could be fun in terms of just, okay, he needs to develop as a passer, but until then, we'll just, game plan around that and make our offense, him running. It's kind of what Baltimore did with Lamar Jackson. There was questions about him as a passer. Jalen Hurts the same way of Philadelphia. So
I mean, even Malik Willis with Tennessee, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Right.
So There are definite guys can get better. I mean, he's only in his early 20s. Odds are he's going to get better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that he's definitely the wild card out of all of them. He's the most athletic out of all of them, but definitely maybe the biggest risk out of them too.
Yeah, agreed. And honestly, I don't want the Lions to get any of them. I do want, I want a new quarterback, but I'm telling you, with our first 2 picks, if the Rams give us a top 3, top 5, and we are able to get Will Anderson, oh my God!
Dude, if you have Will Anderson and Aiden Hutchinson on opposite edges, good luck opposing offensive lines. For the next
exactly.
decade.
Yeah, exactly. James Houston, he had 5 snaps and 2 sacks on Thanksgiving Day. So it's just, I would love Will Anderson as much as I do want a quarterback. I would love Will Anderson so much more, man. You could put me at quarterback.
Well, how about this? I mean, you can still get a new quarterback and not draft one. I mean, Derek Carr.
Yeah. Well, no, thank you. But I
get Derek Carr.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I hate Derek Carr. I think he's a great backup quarterback. And that's
great back. Nick Faber, not liking the Derek Carr.
No, I can't get behind him. And honestly, something that always stuck with me, his rookie or second year, there was a report that came out by his offensive lineman, an anonymous offensive lineman, that Derek Carr forced the offensive lineman to get into prayer with them, and all the offensive linemen didn't want to do it, and he made it mandatory to do this prayer. And that right there, man, pushing religion like that, I don't care who you are, that's not for me. And ever since I heard that article, I just I can't get behind Derek Carr. And then he's done nothing to make me think, oh, maybe I'm wrong about Derek Carr. He just loses every game. He's terrible. He's a bad quarterback.
Well, I'm hoping that he's grown as a leader in terms of maybe not making people pray with him. That would bother me too. That would bother me a lot too. But I don't know, man. Last year, that team had no reason to be in the playoffs, and they were there for he was a big reason why they got there. So
I think it was the coach that they got rid of, that I can't remember his name right now. The interim coach after Gruden left. Who? I'm sorry.
Rich Bisaccia.
Thank you. I think a lot of it was him, and then oh my God, I'm drawing a huge
Mark Davis.
Al Davis. Thank you. Oh my God, I was like, not Al Davis. Who is his son's name? Got rid of him without even thinking about it. The heartbeat. Gets Josh McDaniel, who's a worse coach, and it shows right now. Derek Carr, they've gotten a better team, a better roster, and worse because in the NFL, coaching is so much more impactful than a lot of the players that have to execute this coaching, which obviously that does make a huge difference. But a lot of the times, coaching above all. And in my opinion, the coach that they had last year was winning them games. And besides Derek Carr, Derek Carr did enough to win the games, but it was the coaching that really got them cemented and into the playoffs. I don't know. That's just my take. That's just my take. Maybe biased.
Yeah, I mean, we differ on. I mean, I would saw off my left arm if it meant that Derek Carr would replace Kenny Pickett at this point. My goodness,
really.
Yeah, dude, I didn't like the pick to begin with. He's not getting better. And knowing the Steelers as a franchise, they're not gonna draft a quarterback. They'll give him the entire year next year, and I don't think he's gonna do much.
Okay, so do you think it's a little unfair though, because of the offensive line situation that they have? Give a quarterback an offensive line, and any NFL quarterback can be competent, in my opinion. I think that includes Kenny Pickett into that list. I don't think he's as bad as Josh Rosen, but their offensive line is so bad that I don't know. But again, I'm not watching every Steelers game,
sure.
but from what I see, it just I think that Kenny Pickett has a chance to be, I don't know, as good as Jared Goff, and I don't know.
I think Jared Goff is his ceiling.
Yeah, I think that's his absolute ceiling. I agree, and I think he needs an offensive line, and people can take that as a slander towards him or not, but that's just where I think his ceiling is. Give him an offensive line, he can at least win some playoff games. I don't know. I think you might be a little unfair 8 and 10 weeks into his rookie year. That's just my opinion.
Let me find the stat that I want to say it was Warren Sharp that tweeted this out in terms of how he is. Okay, so this is from Halloween, so it's gotten a little bit different since then. They've had a couple games, but at that point, throws that travel 10 yards or more downfield for Kenny Pickett, 17 of 46, 325 yards on 37% completion, 0 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 22 passer rating. That's over 10 yards downfield.
10 yards.
More than 10 yards. And look, we can talk about Matt Canada. I know that every Steelers fan would love if Matt Canada was, shish kebabbed and paraded around Acrisure. He's a problem. Don't get me wrong. Matt Canada's bad, but so is Pickett. If you look at The first play from scrimmage against the Saints, he had Deontay Johnson for a 75-yard touchdown down the sideline, just didn't throw it to him. Like, whether that's him not seeing it, him not having the confidence in his arm to get it there, maybe a combination of both, I don't know. But there's nothing that I've seen this season that says, oh, yeah, he's got it. I don't see it personally. Offensive line's not great either. It's better than what it was last year, which isn't a high bar. But Mason Cole at center has been like at least a solid foundational piece. Kevin Dotson. They've got one or two guys that are like, okay, they're fine. Tackle situation's iffy, so I get it. Offensive line isn't good. It's not horrible, as horrible as it was last year. Offensive coordinator isn't good, but that doesn't mean that completely excuses Pickett's lack of vision and lack of playmaking. In my opinion,
true.
So.
And the stats don't lie. That's a crazy, horrendous stat right there.
Yeah, bad, very bad,
terrible. That's terrible.
But we do have games tomorrow and Monday night. We'll hop into that. Kicking off with this one because this is one that I am so tempted to bet underdog money line. Jaguars hosting the Ravens. They're 3.5-point dogs. I kind of like Jacksonville in this. Like we've seen moments this season, especially against the Chargers with the Jaguars, where Trevor Lawrence just looks unstoppable. Doug Peterson's, doing really good coaching jobs in certain games. Baltimore, their defense has looked really good over the past couple weeks. Offensively, though, I mean, they've been squandering. So I do think, Jacksonville's not going to lose all their remaining games. There seems to be like a game or two each week where, teams get a little bit surprised. I think that they at least cover this against Baltimore. Would not be surprised if they pull off an upset.
It's a great one to at least take 3.5. You know what I mean? Like, and Baltimore beat Carolina 13-3.
13-3. That's correct.
13-3.
And there wasn't a touchdown scored until the fourth quarter.
And Mark Andrews played the entire game.
He did.
Regardless of coming back from injury or whatnot, he played. And still no touchdown scored till the fourth. Their offense is really – it's weird. It's weird. Lamar Jackson's not running I don't know. It's just a super weird – oh, my God, I'm getting blown up right now I forgot to turn my work phone off, and it is blowing up right now. Anyways. Is it crazy to think Trevor Lawrence outruns Lamar Jackson in this game?
Oh, that would be a fun little prop bet to make.
I don't think it's crazy as it might sound. You know what I mean? I think you're right. I think there's a lot of good coming in from Jacksonville, and honestly, Baltimore's not doing anything to move the needle for me, though their defense is looking very stout against.
I was going to say, the one thing that's moving the needle for me on Baltimore is the fact that since they traded for Roquan Smith, that defense, especially the front seven, has just been like Patrick Queen has gotten better because teams have to focus a little bit more on Roquan Smith. That opens up things for Queen. Like their front seven's gotten better. And they're getting Marcus Williams back here shortly too. So, they're very good defensive unit.
They are. Who did they play 2 weeks ago? I was trying to rack my head because
2 weeks ago, who did they play?
Like we're talking about Roquan and this defense being great against freaking 13 points allowed. Okay, so 3 points allowed against Baker Mayfield and the Panthers. 13 points allowed against Andy Dalton and the Saints. You know what I mean? The week before that was the Bucks, the Browns. So it gets a little bit better there. But
last week they played Carolina. Before that they had a bye week, and then the week before that they beat the Saints 27-13.
So those aren't offenses that make me think, oh wow, Baltimore defense is really standing put. They're just doing what they should be doing as a division leader, and they're a good team, obviously. Do I think Jacksonville ends up winning this game? No. But do I think Jacksonville keeps within 3.5? Yeah, I'll give it a 2-point win for the Ravens on this game. And this will be a very fun game to watch down in Duval. Ball will be flying. It'll be nice and warm. It'll be a great game.
Trying to pull up Baltimore's DVOA ranking because I would like to see how their defense ranks in that. So that would be definitely, regardless, a game to keep an eye on. I'm excited for that. I might just throw like 10 on Jacksonville money line just to see what happens. But definitely 3.5 feels like a good number for the Jaguars. This Broncos Panthers. This is going to be maybe the word. This is like I think it's on Fox. So like the 6th commentary team will be doing that game. That's going to be Baker Mayfield.
You and me? I think we are.
It could be us, yeah.
Sam
Darnold starting for the Panthers. And then, Broncos country, let's ride. They are 1.5 favorites on the road in Carolina. I do think that they win and cover that. However, there was a crazy stat, and I want to say, who was it? it might have been Benjamin Solak who pointed this out on his podcast. If the Broncos averaged 18 points a game, just 18 points, they'd be 9-1.
Yeah. And Drew Lock averaged 20 points a game while being quarterback for Denver, So did they lose that trade? Maybe.
Just absurd.
It is crazy. Denver, and it's crazy the teams that play Denver, and it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter. And we noticed this while I do a fantasy football podcast, a daily fantasy football podcast for the Undroppables. And we noticed about week 2, week 3, and it was like any single time you have a team that plays Denver, they aren't going to score more than 15, 16 points. Do not start anyone against Denver. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Sit Christian McCaffrey. Sit Deebo Samuel had a terrible game against them. Like it just all these great players have terrible games against Denver. I bet Denver wins this game, but I'm smashing the under 36.5 right now. Smashing that under. I bet this game does not equate to 30 points total. And at halftime, it will be 3-3, if not 3-0.
I hope it's nothing but field goals. 15-12 all the way. Let's do it.
That's probably the best prediction of like this entire show that we're gonna go through, because that is 100%.
I'm gonna go to see like where you can bet the correct score of the game. I'm gonna see what the odds of that one are right now, because
that's gotta
be some sort of good money, huh?
That would be. Just put $1 down on it right now. Win a quick $200, $300. Just if
I can find the correct score. There it is. Okay, so let's see. I do think the Broncos will win. So we say I might go. Well, the Broncos are good for 1 touchdown a game. The rest of it. So I'll say 16-12 Broncos. That's plus 45,000.
45,000. Put $1 on it, dude. Just put $1 on it.
450? Yeah.
We gotta put $1 on it.
I'm down. Here, we'll put 2 on it. We'll split it.
All right. If that ends up, dude, you fucking genius over here.
If that comes true, I'm going to clip this and I'm going to do a parade around my home.
Here's what you'll need. Now, I love it. Yes, I agree. The what you'll need though is Sam Darnold to execute 4 drives that can get within the field goal range.
That's the thing.
That's the scariest part of this. But you got you know what I mean? You got what's the no risk it, no biscuit. There we go.
No risk it, no biscuit. Dash Bruiserians. Yep.
Yes, sir.
16-6 isn't a bad one either. That is plus 21,000.
That's why the 16-12 is so much more, because they're like, dude, if you really think Sam Darnold gonna get 4 drives in, but you never know, man. NFL be crazy sometimes. But I'll smash the under. I will smash the under. 28.
I'll throw $1 on a couple of these and just see if one hits, because one of them's got to be.
Yeah.
One of them oughta.
I always say that, and then I lose $100. But
yeah. All right,
that game doesn't move the needle for me. Next,
that's all I'm going to be paying attention to. I'll bet the correct score and cross my fingers.
Yep. That's all you need to pay attention to.
All right, Commanders Falcons. This is another one where I think the underdog could win outright. I love the Commanders. I love them coming into the year. I picked them to win the NFC East coming into the year, and that kind of bit me in the butt. But right now, 6-5, they look good. Atlanta, kind of the opposite. Like, I don't know, Arthur Smith, for whatever reason. Like, how bad is Desmond Ridder that they're just not playing him over Marcus Mariota? I think that's something to pay attention to. No Kyle Pitts, so that puts a little bit of a damper on them. Defensively, they don't really have much there either. Like, to me, you can make the argument that roster-wise, the Falcons might be the worst team in football right now. I just don't see anything there with them. However, I don't think that Washington's going to just keep winning and winning and winning. I don't think they're that good where they can just keep doing that, and I feel like they're bound to lose one eventually. 3.5 for the Falcons. I think that they can cover that. Could win outright, plus $1.66 to win outright to pay, if you wanted to bet on that game, anybody watching. Your thoughts on this? I love Taylor Heineke, though. Do love me some Taylor Heineke.
Oh, pop me a Heineke. I also love him. This game is incredibly awesome, in my opinion. This is one of the best games of the week. And many people are like, what are you talking about? This game is do or die for both of these teams for the wild card race. Yeah. They are the 2 teams chasing. They are the 7 or the 8 and 9 seed right now. Washington 8, Atlanta 9. Both teams, including the Lions, who are in the 10 seed, chasing Seattle, who's 6-4. Washington 6-5, Atlanta 5-6. They're both right in it. This game is more of a playoff game to both of these teams than almost any other game that we're going to see on the slate this week. I love this game. When put in clutch positions, Taylor Heineke doesn't fucking quit. And I'm sorry, I don't know if we cuss on the show or not, but
yeah, you know what? We already crossed that boundary in like the first minute when we were crying over Budweiser commercials. So swear, fuckity, fuck.
Yeah, good, fuck. Taylor Heineke is fucking awesome though, and he is in clutch moments. In the playoffs, he won a game. In the playoffs, he almost beat Tom Brady. He has taken the Commanders from Undertaker in the goddamn casket and uprisen him. Like they have got him, and now he's in Brock Lesnar's face laughing. He's laughing, and it's freaking hilarious. I love it, and I'm so excited to see what Washington do, because I also predicted this team to do very well as well as the Giants. They get number 2 overall pick, Chase Young. Chase Young comes back, and I like Atlanta. They're crazy. The reason that Red Deer's not in is because they're 5-6 and in this playoff hunt, and they're not gonna fuck with what's not with what's working. And 5-6 isn't really working, but it is working in the NFC right now because the NFC is so trash. So Mariota is gonna continue to ride until they're out of this. Once they lose this game, I bet we start seeing the Ritter will come in sooner rather than later, because they will lose this game. This is in Washington. The 3.5 is a good one. I would still probably take Atlanta to cover 3.5, but I absolutely would not predict them to win this game. But I just don't see Washington like winning by a touchdown. They're not that good.
You might have just talked me into just betting Atlanta plus 3.5, but Washington money line, just a little double way me there.
Ooh, that's the old double down right there. I like that. That's a good one. I think that's what's going to happen. I think Washington wins by 3.
Okay.
24-21 or something like that.
I'm in for it. Keep riding this Heineke train. Poor Carson Wentz.
4-1 or 5-1 as a starter this year.
Who have they lost to since he took over?
Have
they lost since he became the starter?
I think they lost one.
I want to say they lost one too, because they beat Green Bay, they beat Philadelphia, beat Houston, beat the Colts. Yeah, 4-1 sounds about right. I just can't think of who they lost to.
I think they're 4-1, but I also cannot remember who they lost to. And actually, though, if I can stall for 3 seconds, I'll figure it out right
now. That's fine.
They lost to the Vikings 20-7.
Yes. Okay, yes.
Before he came in, they only win was against the Jags in week 1. They had a 4-game losing streak, and then he comes in. I assume he comes in against the Bears, and they just start winning. If so, he is now 5-1 as a starter.
Fantastic.
I don't know the logistics behind it all, but it's around there.
Fantastic. All right. Yeah. So Taylor Heineke keeps rolling. Yeah, no, you definitely talked me into that. Definitely.
Rolling. That's another Undertaker reference too. Rolling.
Yes, it is. Rolling. When he came out on his adorable trikey.
Yes, indubitably.
I hated. I was only like 2 years old during that, but like biker taker, not my thing.
See, that's what I was right in peak watching that time. So he always came out with his bandana on his bike, and all my uncles were big bikers. So I was always like, yeah, dude, you're part of the family, Taker. You know what I mean? Come over for fucking the barbecue. Let's go.
Speaking of family, Tom Brady will travel to Cleveland, and
he has no family anymore.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. The Buccaneers, another 3.5 point line. They're 3.5 point favorites against Cleveland. Jacoby Brissett's final start before Deshaun Watson returns against the Houston Texans next week. Cleveland, yeah, I mean, they've been that fun team that's, Brissett has had his games where he keeps them in it, plays well, played well against Pittsburgh earlier in the year, played well against Buffalo, even though they lost. But there are some games where he's just going to play really bad. I think this is going to be one of them. I understand it's his last one. He'll be playing with something to prove, trying to put something on tape for a team next year. Might try a little bit too hard. I do like Tampa to win and cover in this game. Eventually, you think that Tampa's going to start rolling. I think that the win in Munich was kind of the start of that. And then, the NFC South isn't very good. I still think Tampa wins that. It's not a very high bar to clear. I think they win and cover this week.
I am agreeing. And
I think you muted yourself, buddy. There we go.
I don't even know how I did that. Anyways, I'm going to agree and disagree with you. I think they win. I do not think they cover. Give me a 1-point win for Tampa, and Cleveland makes this a hell of a game. Jacoby just, I don't know, comes out last game like he's just gonna give it his all. I think he's gonna. It's like in the old Rookie of the Year movie where John Candy's just like, this is the whole kit and caboodle. This is for the whole enchilada. This is for the whole taco. This is for the whole shebang. That's kind of what Jacoby Brissett's at right now. Like he knows the writing's on the wall. Obviously, Deshaun's coming back next week. This is his last game. They have been kind of competitive in games, like you said, against Buffalo. They played well. They played really well against Cincinnati, but they also got blown out by Miami, blown out by a couple other teams. I don't like Cleveland by any chance, and I don't think they win this game. I don't think there's a chance in hell that they win this game. I just think they cover this weird game, and not so much because Cleveland is good enough, but because Tampa's just bad. They're bad. No Leonard Fournette this week. Rashad White will be starting, which actually probably helps.
Ride that Rashad White train, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hopefully you have him in fantasy. But I don't know. I just see a 1-point game, like 26-25 Tampa in this game.
All great points. I will point out, completely unrelated, I do think that your mic is still off. Like I can hear you, but you sound like echoey.
Oh, well, let's see. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe
I don't know. But yeah, you went mute for a minute, like Jamie Lloyd in Halloween 5. Try it now.
Okay, I just changed.
That's better.
Hey, okay, it did. I must have unplugged my microphone and it went to mute and then went to like my computer microphone. Okay,
that's what I would be guessing. We are back. Yeah, Tampa Bay's been a little bit weird. Like Chris Godwin has been dealing with injury all year long. I think he's only got the 1 touchdown. Julio Jones, like everybody freaked out when they signed Julio Jones, but like the dude's bound to miss at least 4 games a year.
Same thing with Russell Gage. When everyone loved Russell Gage when they signed him, and they were like Russell Gage with Tom Brady. I was like, all right, what is that? What are we doing? What are we talking about?
Like, all due respect, it's Russell fucking Gage.
Yeah. He's behind Mike Evans and freaking Chris Godwin. What are we talking about? What are we doing?
Yeah. But I do like. You pointed out Leonard Fournette not being there. I think Rashad White's probably the better option right now. He looked really good against Seattle, so hopefully they can keep that going and establish some sort of run game, because with Leonard Fournette, they weren't establishing any sort of run game, and I think that's why they're leaning more into Rashad White. So we'll see what he can do. I'm excited. Now, Cleveland defensively, I mean, they've just been bad for in large part this year. Like Myles Garrett's good, but outside, like Greedy Williams hasn't really been himself. Denzel Ward hasn't really been as good as we're accustomed to. So like, who else? John Johnson hasn't been as good as people were hoping. So they have names on that side of the ball, but guys just haven't really shown up a lot this year.
But to counter the point, that the Buccaneers haven't scored more than 22 points in the last 6 weeks. In the last 6 weeks, they have scored 21, 16, 22 in a loss, 3 in a loss, 18 in a loss, 21 with a win. And then the last time they scored more than 22 points was October 2nd versus Kansas City in a loss 41-31, where they only had like 20 points until they got a couple late touchdowns.
So yeah, some garbage time stuff.
Before that, loss with 12 points. Before that, win with 20. Before that, win with 19. They have not scored more than 22 points except for one time this season, and that was in a loss to Kansas City. They don't score. Tom Brady's arm is Peyton Manning right now in that Super Bowl win. Like, we're seeing it live. We are finally seeing Father Time beat Tom Brady. And of course, when you say that, that means he goes off for 6 touchdowns next week. Well, but I don't know. I'm just saying, like, Tom Brady and the Bucs haven't scored more than 22 points except for once, and they haven't done it in a win yet this season. That's weird to me.
So what you're telling me is to bet under 42.5.
I think that might be the best bet. But the thing is that Cleveland's defense is so bad that
this could be the week where they just kind of, Mike Evans scores 2 touchdowns, Rashad White gets a running touchdown. Yeah,
right. If this is if there's a get right week, especially like you said, coming off of that momentum swinging win in Munich, this might be it. So that's a risky play. But honestly, like if I had a gun to my head, $100, and I had to put it over under, I would probably take the under and assume that Tampa Bay wins this game 24. No, I would even say 21-13 final score. That
would be a weird scenario though. Like you just get robbed in an alley and they're like, you're gonna fucking die unless you bet the correct over under on this game. You're like, all right, fuck.
I gotta do it. That's the kind of like scenarios sometimes I feel like I wonder what I would do, I'm like, all right, dude,
If I were to go out in a crazy way like that, I hope it's Joe Pesci that's the one who like ends me.
Yeah.
If there's anybody I could pick, I think I'm picking Joe Pesci.
I think that's so right. I don't think there's anyone else that I could say to even come close to that. Yeah, I would need him to just mobster me out, and it would be, I would be nice if he had like a gold tooth in from like Home Alone.
That would be good. That would
kind of bring like Christmas and Casino and Goodfellas all into one.
Can we talk about, by the way, how the Home Alone franchise has just gone to shit?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, because Home Alone 3, I like Home Alone 3. It doesn't have anything to do with the first two, obviously, but I still enjoy Home Alone 3. And then they come out like Home Alone 4, and then this new, I can't remember the name of the new one, but it's still under the Home Alone umbrella. I'm not watching them, but they just look so absurdly horrible. And I bet they're like kid friendly for like this era. So like there's not going to be any fun injuries that happen or definite like bricks to the head that would definitely kill somebody where they just
instead it's like they switch out their juicy fruit gum for big red gum. And they're like, oh, my mouth, it's burning, and the kid's like, got you fuckers.
I miss
it's terrible.
I miss like the golden era of like funny violence.
Yeah, dude, it's we were watching what was I just watching with my kid where I was like, oh, it was Ghostbusters during Halloween. And I was like, this is a kid's movie. Yeah. And we're watching, and I was like, oh, this would not pass as a kid's movie these days. Like, this is raunchy. There's a part where like the ghost comes into the bed with Dan Aykroyd and stuff like that, and like takes his shows his underwear and stuff. It's very similar to like Scary Movie. And I was like, oh shit, Jay, what? Close your eyes real quick. Hold on. Hey, dang, I thought this was fine, but yeah, it doesn't pass. PC culture, dude. Different world we live in these days.
It is. And the greatest segue in the history of podcasting, the Cincinnati Bengals will travel to Tennessee. I think this is building up to be a game of the week candidate. It's a pick 'em right now. I mean, Cincinnati's a 1-point favorite, but I think that these two teams are going to be able to play to their strengths right now. Cincinnati 16th in DVOA against the run, Tennessee 13th in DVOA against the pass. There's a chance that Jamar Chase plays this week, which he was just in crutches, and everybody's like, he's probably going to be out for like a month and a half, and he said, hold my beer, I'm going to come back, come off crutches and just keep this thing going. I am excited for this. Tennessee's one of those teams, man, where like they somehow win games that I just don't think that they should, and everybody gets behind them. And at the end of the day, I'm just like, it's Ryan Tannehill, Treylon Burks. I get that Derrick Henry is fantastic in their defense, who not a lot of names on that side of the ball, but they play really well and they're well coached and they just make things happen. This line was at one point, I think, like Cincinnati -2.5. It's gone all the way down to 1. So I don't know, man. If Vegas is right, this is going to be a hell of a game.
I agree. I mean, both teams going on huge winning streaks, I guess, right now. Tennessee's won 7 of their last 8. Cincinnati's won 6 of their last 8. Cincinnati seemed to be dead in the water after an 0-2 start. People were like, Super Bowl hangover, they're done for. And then Jamar Chase goes out, and they just continue to win. Tennessee, they were the number 1 seed last year in the AFC, get bumped immediately. Every NFL fan still thinks of them as a joke because, again, they got Ryan Tannehill and Treylon Burks. They just traded away A.J. Brown. What are they doing there in Tennessee? Like, you cannot just continue to give the ball to Derrick Henry 45 times a game and win. Like, you cannot do that in the 2022 NFL.
And Mike Vrabel looks at it and says, the fuck I can't.
Yeah, unless you got Mikey V as your coach. And they're
I'll
freaking
chop off
awesome.
my own penis to win a Super Bowl, Mike Vrabel.
Dude, I don't know. It seems like they're the best regular season team in the NFL every year. And my God, do they suck in the playoffs. And that's probably because you have your best player touch the ball 400 times before you get to the playoffs. Maybe you shouldn't be doing stuff like that. But that's how they win. That's how they play. That's how Vrabel plays. This game specifically, we'll bring it back to that. I think that it's going to be a hell of a good game. We're going to see a lot of touchdowns. I think this is not going to be an under game. I think we might see the over. I'm going to pick Tennessee, though. I just can't take against them right now. I don't care how good Cincinnati is, and even if Jamar Chase comes back and this and that and this and that, I'm just not going to pick against Tennessee. They've won 7 of 8. You can't pick a team against a team that is riding that high, in my opinion. The only loss they had was in overtime at Kansas City against the Chiefs. Like, that's the best loss that you can have per NCAA talk. You know, you know what I mean? That's a good loss right there.
Yeah, come on, they passed the eye test.
So I like Tennessee in this pick'em game.
Fuck the college football playoff. They're gonna find a way to put Alabama in this thing.
Oh, they better, dude. They better, because then what else are we going to talk about for the net? What, TCU gets in and then they lose in the first game by 29 points? Like, what? We can't talk about that. Put me Alabama
I'll
in
tell
there.
you when I stopped giving a shit about college football, and it was 2016-17. Penn State won the Big Ten, beat Ohio State, and the CFP was like, fuck it, put Ohio State in. We don't care.
Yeah. What? That doesn't. You can't just. That's such a pageantry. That's so terrible. I mean, I hate it, but I will be okay if they get like 8. I like the 8-team proposal. I'm down to get a 12-team
cool with
playoff.
that.
That would be really fun for me. I'm okay with that.
I'm definitely a proponent for expanding, which I think they've ruled that they are going to.
Yeah, I think it's 8. I think 8 is happening like in
8's fine.
2025.
That's fine. You want to put 8 in? Be my guest. Like the
good.
5 Power 5 conference winners, 3 wild cards. Fucking go.
Just put
go nuts.
65 fucking teams in there like basketball. Start the tournament in October, and by January we'll be good. We'll have a few bowl games sprinkled in throughout the, throughout the October, November, December area.
Bowl games kill me, by the way.
Bowl games are terrible, dude.
Nobody gives, unless you went to the university, nobody gives a shit to watch the Citadel play, Idaho State and the Mapix Tampon Bowl or whatever the fuck they're doing.
And State is like, I just won the finger up my ass bowl. Woo! Let's go. You know what I mean? You're like, all right, well, sit and spin, my brother. I don't know. I hate bowl games. I'm not a college football fan either. That's why I had no problem doing this podcast at 2:00 during the Michigan Ohio State game.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I was like, oh man, he's a Lions fan. He's probably a Michigan fan. He's probably going to say no, but I'm glad that this worked out.
I'm not a Michigan fan. I am a Michigan State fan, but even if it was Michigan State, I wouldn't even watch them. I don't ever really watch college football until Jim Nagy. Hopefully, Jim Nagy's not listening. Until about 1 month before the Senior Bowl, and then I just kill film for about 18 hours a day. And that's the only kind of college football I like. Seeing one guy over and over and over and over and over. Like college football, I just can't keep up with the players. I can't. It's too much. It's just so many, and they're always moving and they're always transferring. And I just can't. Like I can barely keep up with the NFL on a daily basis, let alone like throwing a whole college football. I can't do it.
If anything, I like going in with a blind eye because then I can be like, okay, I like this guy, and then we can go back and see the consensus. Like, okay, everybody likes this guy too, or I like this guy. Oh, nobody likes this guy. This is
100% love that. Like last year, I came out, I just watched. I didn't know anything about anyone, and I was like, Jalen Petre is the best safety in this class, better than Kyle Hamilton, and everyone was like, "You're dumb as a box of nails," and I was like, "Well, okay, that's okay." But Jalen Petre came out just firing. Kyle Hamilton looked pretty good at Baltimore now, but to start, Houston was just looking great, and Petre has like 3 or 4 picks already, just looking phenomenal. And I was like, "Oh yeah, see, yeah, my eyes do not deceive me. I know what I'm talking about." You know what I mean? Like,
so yeah, that'll be from January till like I don't know March-ish because we'll do combine stuff too.
Yeah,
that'll be my college football season in terms of what I'm watching. In terms of this game, I'm kind of leaning Tennessee too. I really am. And I like Cincinnati too. I think they've become more diverse offensively after those first 2 weeks where they just look bland and boring and so predictable. They've made a lot of changes, and I think that has been to the credit of Zach Taylor and the staff for kind of swallowing what wasn't working, trying something new. I don't know, man. Yeah, I've bet against Tennessee too many times, and it always bites me in the ass, and I can't do it again. So if I did have to bet, I would go. By the way, over/under for this game only 42.5. I'll bet the hell out of the over.
That's what I'm saying, dude. There's gonna be more touchdowns than people think. People are thinking it's like, oh, Derrick Henry, he's gonna touch the ball the entire game, and there's gonna be 4 possessions each team. It's like, no. There's gonna be touchdowns scored, dude. Play action's gonna work. This game will hit the over. It'll be a great game to watch, and I'll take Tennessee in like a 2-point win.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I do think that Cincinnati is going to be the better team overall, but something about Tennessee right now, man, they're humming. So I will take the Titans as well. Miami and Houston, we are going to see who is starting for the Texans this week. I know that they announced it. I already forget. Davis Mills isn't starting. I know that.
Whoa. Oh, I just missed that. I completely just missed that. So I don't even know who the hell's their backup.
I'm pulling it up right now because I feel bad
Jeff
for forgetting.
George?
Jeff George. Rodney Pete is starting.
Rodney Pete is.
Oh,
that's great.
All right, let me pull up who's starting for the Texans.
Oh, wait, hold on. Before you say it, I want to guess it.
Okay. Okay, I have it.
I can't get it. Oh,
I'll give you.
Job. I don't know.
I'll give you a few hints. He has started before. Like he has been a starter. Well,
okay.
Has he been a week 1 starter?
Jeff Driscoll. No,
not Jeff Driscoll. That's a good guess though.
Okay.
It's not Jeff Driscoll.
Okay.
I'll give you one of the teams.
Okay.
Carolina Panthers.
He was a starter for Carolina.
He was a starter for Carolina. Not Josh Rosen.
I give up. Who we got?
Kyle Allen will start.
Kyle Allen. Oh,
yes.
I like him. Yes. I like him. What was the other one? Washington, right?
Washington, yep.
Yeah.
So Kyle Allen starting for the Texans against the Dolphins. Dolphins are 14-point favorites. They were 15.5-point favorites. That number's gone down since then. Miami, I think we kind of know what they are. They're, all right, Tua's going to throw it 11 yards to Tyreek Hill, and he's going to get 22. And we're just going to keep doing that because we can. In terms of what they're doing defensively, I'd have to look. Miami, DVOA-wise, they're not a very good defense. They're not a great pass defense, which is weird considering who they have on the back end. But yeah, defensively, they haven't been very good, but offensively, they put up points. No better example of that than the game against Chicago where the Bears and the Dolphins just exchanged blows for a little bit. But yeah, Miami, I expect them to win this game. It would be so funny if Kyle Allen just goes out and beats the Dolphins. Not just because Dolphins Twitter hates me. It would give me a lot of joy for that reason. I don't root against teams per se, but I root against fan bases.
Hell yeah.
And it will bring me so much joy if Kyle Allen beats Miami.
That would be so fun to watch too. Like, could you imagine Scott Hansen be going crazy? Oh, Kyle Allen!
It's the witching hour where wins become losses and losses become wins. Holy fucking shit! Kyle Allen and the Houston Texans are leading by 2 touchdowns with 19 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and everybody just goes fucking bonkers.
Oh my god! Why did we bring Scott Hansen into the studio? Golly, that was great.
I'm gonna clip that and send it to him and see if he'll say that on air. Probably not, because I don't think
I don't know.
Jesus fucking Christ! Look at this.
Dolphins are easily winning this game, but I'm not going to take 14 points. That's way too much.
I'm not either.
No way. No NFL team you can just ever take that. There used to be a stat, I don't know what it is, but man, like 4 or 5 years ago, it was like any team that got 14 points or more, like the chances of covering it was so slim. And I don't know. I feel like it has gone up since then, but I will take Miami with the win, Houston to cover, and a 29-17 win for Miami.
I like that score. I think too, like it'll be Miami should be winning by a decent amount come the fourth quarter. They might pull their starters, and I think that they'll start playing soft defensively. Houston will get a garbage time score or two. So I think that could play into the spread as well. There was either last year or 2020. I want to say it was 2020. The Texans were 17.5-point dogs to the Bills, and they lost like 40-3. So that's one game that covered a big spread.
Go on that side. See, I do think I think I read that stat and then saw like 3 or 4 games where like the team that was favored to win by 14 plus won by 14 plus. So I don't know how that stat sits anymore. But one day it was a stat. One day far ago, many moons ago.
But yeah, I will take Miami. The 14 though, I would tease that. I would take that up to like Texans plus 20.
Yeah. Gladly. Or I'll take the Dolphins plus 8. Like I don't.
That was fair. Yeah.
Dolphins are definitely winning by 8 or more. That's for sure.
Yeah, fair enough on that. Chicago and the New York Jets. We are getting more than likely. The Bears just elevated Nate Peterman to the roster, so it looks like Justin Fields is not playing. So we are getting Trevor Siemian against Mike White. God help us. Over under for this game 38.5. I think that's too high. Yep. Like I'm expecting like 12-9 game. Both offenses put up like 13 yards apiece. It comes down to whoever throws the final interception and sets up their respective field goal kickers and good range to win it. Miami, Chicago is Offense was nothing until they decided to lean into the fact that Justin Fields can run. He's not going to be there. Trevor Siemian isn't going to run. The Jets, I hope to God. Luke Getsy's like, I got read option, Trevor.
There goes Simeon on another PTO. Here he goes. Shit. He got a total of 3 yards.
We'll go to the Octobox now and look at Trevor Siemian breaking off against the Jets. A 76-yard run. Who the hell would have guessed that?
Justin Fields, who? Oh my God, bro.
Luke Getsy's a fucking genius, apparently.
Oh my God. No, that is not going to happen. That is not. If anything, it'll be like a 76-yard run backwards. Like the ball went over his head. He's still getting the ball and he's kicking it around. And that's a 76-yard
It is 3rd and goal from the opposite 7-yard line. Let's see what the Bears draw up here.
It's a draw play to Montgomery. My God.
Jesus H.
No, yeah, that game, take the under all day. I cannot believe it's still sitting that high. That game, 9-6 total. We got 2 defensive-minded coaches, both very good defensive-minded coaches that are understanding what this game is going to be, which is a ground and pound and beat it out defensively. Make them run it into 8 in the box and then make Trevor Siemian or Mike White throw the ball, which is the last thing either of these teams want. So just get any under you can. Go smash. Go get a mortgage out on your house and put it on the under in this game.
Or you can put $15 on Broncos Panthers ending in a 16-12 game and see if you can make
buy a second house.
Yeah, buy a second house, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game's going to be a sleeper of the week. Don't expect much to come of that. Raiders Seahawks. Yeah, Josh McDaniels is playing with house money at this point. He knows he's not getting fired. Mark Davis isn't going to be paying 3 coaching staffs. Seattle riding high right now. They are. Would you say Seattle was 6-4?
Yeah.
So they've been one of the stories of the season, maybe the best story. Good for Geno Smith. The Raiders seem to have figured out that Devontae Adams is pretty good over the past few weeks. It took them long enough. Yeah. In terms of what to expect this game, Seattle's defense, their secondary especially, their very young secondary has been playing really well. Kenneth Walker has been tearing up the league offensively for them as well. Seattle's just a better team, better coached. They are 3.5-point favorites. For some reason though, I just don't want to touch the spread here. I feel like we're all just kind of waiting for Seattle to start to crumble a little bit. It hasn't happened yet. I don't think that Josh McDaniels is going to be marching into Seattle with 3 wins on the year and be like, watch this, motherfuckers. And
we're here.
This is a spread I'm staying away from. Money, I'm not touching this game whatsoever just because I feel like it could go either way.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. I would take Vegas plus 4.5. Isn't that what we got? Or plus 4? Okay. Just because I don't think Seattle wins by that much. But I do think Seattle wins because they're a better team. I'm a Lions fan. I'm hoping that Raiders can't come out. And unbiasedly, I really do think that this could be like a trap game for Seattle. They're coming back from Munich after a loss. And yes, they're better coached. Everything kind of screams Seattle should win this game. And in that case, in the NFL, that means the other team just going to do something random. And you're like, what? How did Las Vegas go to the 12th man and win in Seattle? They're just gonna, because it's just weird. And the NFL is weird like that. And a lot of things that happen shouldn't happen. And that's why betting is so fun. I would actually take Vegas plus 4 confidently. And that's the only thing I would touch in this.
It's going to be one of those things where like Derek Carr gets stripped, but he somehow like kicks his foot up at the perfect time and kicks it 70 yards to Devontae Adams, who's waiting there. Yeah.
Catches it with like on the tip of his fingers.
Spinning it like a basketball to the end zone. Holy shit. Los Angeles Chargers hosting the dumpster fire Arizona Cardinals. Chargers only 3-point favorites this game, which I kind of get. The Chargers have underperformed once again. We drink at least I do. I drink the Chargers Kool-Aid every year, and every year they disappoint. Mm-hmm. They are nerfing their own quarterback. They've turned Andy Dalton into they've turned Justin Herbert into Andy Dalton. See, I was getting ahead of myself with my analogies. I don't know. I mean, hey, Joe Lombardi, Lions fans know him well. Same guy that kind of nerfed Matt Stafford a little bit. So with this, the Cardinals coming back from Mexico City, getting embarrassed by the 49ers, firing their offensive line coach. which, by the way, I hope we somehow find the footage of why they did that.
Do we know what happened? Like,
it was undisclosed. It was behind something. Yeah, no, not great. Apparently, a bunch of footage was deleted from the Hard Knocks in season stuff because he was apparently a focus of it, and they were like, "Oh, can't use that anymore." So I don't know what happened, but I'm very intrigued to find out. Regardless, is Kyler Murray playing this week? Do we know the answer to that yet?
I think he is.
Okay. He's been dealing with the hamstring. They went to Colt McCoy. I like the Chargers in this game. I think that they should win by more than 3, but knowing the Chargers, they're going to find a way to let the Cardinals hang around, and it'll have to come out to a last-second field goal, similar to how they won against Atlanta. So I think that the Chargers should win. I would probably tease this to like Chargers +3, just to save my butt a little bit. I don't think it's being decided by more than 3 points.
These games are getting real fun in the NFL. Both of these games are must wins. Like Arizona, that's literally a must win. If they want to keep their playoff hopes alive, they have to win this game. If the Chargers really realistically want to keep their playoff hopes alive and not fall to 5-6 in a very tough AFC, they have to win. They're on the road. It's in Arizona. Kyler Murray's back. Their defense is terrible in Arizona, but yet Justin Herbert's not that great. They got to rely on Austin Eckler. Mike Williams is out. It's such an interesting game. I think it's going to be really fun. I think this game, there's more points scored than the Jets game and the Broncos game combined. Though both of those games combined out of all 4 teams will not equal this game. I think there's going to be a lot of touchdowns scored. Austin Eckler will have a lot of them. Josh Palmer will probably have a couple of them. Keenan Allen might have one. Nuke will probably have a few. Rondell Moore will have a few. Trey McBride will have one. There's going to be a lot of touchdowns scored. I got LA winning this game, but I'm not confident about it. I'm not putting any money down. In fact, I would probably just stick with Arizona +3 just to kind of play the points, just to think that if anything, they lose by 3 and I just wash this, or they can stay within 2. I don't see Los Angeles winning by like a boatload by any means. And I don't know. But I do see LA winning this game, but I'm not betting this game.
Over under 48.5 for this game. That feels like one that should get topped.
That's what I'm saying. Like 50, this game should come to be like 31-28 kind of thing. 31-21, 52 points. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't seem that hard to get, in my opinion.
Fingers crossed on that. Preseason wise, this was looked at as one of the games of the year. Yes. Chiefs hosting the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams, who are having one of the worst Super Bowl defenses in NFL history right now. Their defense is bad. Their offense is absolutely nothing. They don't have Matt Stafford. Nobody can block. They don't have Cooper Kupp. They just released Darrell Henderson and kept Cam Akers for reasons. They are bad. They're very bad. And they're going into Arrowhead against a team that is, we know how good the Chiefs are. You trade away Tyreek Hill, and Patrick Mahomes is playing as good as he ever has. They look as good as they have since Mahomes took over. I don't know, man. 15.5. This is one of those situations where I think that gets covered.
Yeah. John Wolford's their starter, right?
Bryce Perkins.
Oh, oof. Yeah. I'm definitely taking that. I'm taking Kansas City to cover. Kansas City is just too good. And they'll have a 30-point lead at halftime. This game's terrible, which is great for the Lions fans because we want to see the Rams lose. I think for the Rams' sake, you just can't lose an offensive coordinator every single season like they have
expect to keep regurgitating them.
You can't do that. Like you can, but you can't. You just can't. You have to have some like stability in your coaching staff, and unfortunately, they've just been so good that every offensive coordinator has been leaving them. Respectfully so, and this year it finally caught up to him. Stafford is injured, and Cooper Kupp is injured, and their defense is not playing well. The whole team is just a dumpster fire, and that's okay with me.
And Jalen Ramsey, does anybody look to blame somebody else after a big play more than Jalen Ramsey, by the way?
I don't think so, no. Ramsey immediately.
Nothing is ever Jalen Ramsey's fault, is what I'm noticing, 100%. According to himself. No, this should be over by halftime. I think Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olsen are the ones on call for this too. So I'm sure that they were looking forward to it week 1, and now they're poor guys.
Poor guys. I hate Greg Olsen. He deserves it.
Oh, why do we hate Greg Olsen?
I actually loved him until he did a Lions game 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and it was the most atrocious game. He was straight. I think it was the Packers game. or maybe it was the Giants game, but either one, he was straight up rooting for the Packers or the Giants or the Bears, whatever game we won. And it wasn't until the fourth quarter was he finally like, the Lions are looking pretty good, I guess. And it's like, Greg Olsen, you are the fucking worst, dude. I liked you so much. I had so much respect for him until I heard him call that game. And he was just a troll. He must have some vendetta against the Lions or something, because it was terrible.
Well, he was a Bear for a little bit
on Twitter. What?
He was a Bear for a little bit. I don't know if that.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe and just whatever it is. I just think he deserves this Rams Chiefs game. He deserves it.
I like Greg Olsen personally. That's just me. Saints 49ers. The 49ers coming off maybe like over the last few years. I don't remember the 49ers playing a more complete game than they did against Arizona and Mexico City. Jimmy Garoppolo threw 4 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey had 16 touches. Elijah Mitchell was averaging almost 6 yards a carry. Brandon Ayuk had a good game. Defensively, they played really well. Like, in terms of just complete football, I understand it was against the Cardinals and Colt McCoy, what have you. That was as flawless a performance as you could have from a team. They're my favorite in the NFC right now to make it to the Super Bowl. This is a game that they should win. 8.5-point favorites against a New Orleans team that isn't good. Your thoughts on this game?
I'm more interested in your thoughts on them being the top seed, the top team to run the NFC. But you might be right. Philly and San Fran will be a fun game to watch. That'll be a good NFC Championship game. San Fran's for the real deal, dude. They're the real deal. Holyfield. Holy crap. They didn't even need Christian McCaffrey 2 weeks ago to beat the Chargers. They just relied on Elijah Mitchell. And then last week they were like, okay, well, I guess we'll use this Christian McCaffrey fella. I don't know who that is, but let's see.
There's this Crocker that can run and throw. This is pretty fucking cool.
I don't know what this wait a minute. I don't believe it. It's crazy. So I think Kyle Shanahan's the best coach, probably the most underrated coach in the NFL right now, and a top 3 coach in the NFL. I love him. I love the fact that it doesn't matter if it's Christian McCaffrey. If Elijah Mitchell's playing better, he's going to freaking play. Yeah. It doesn't matter who their starting running back was. It didn't matter if you were a guy back in groceries 2 days ago. If you are better, you are going to play. And I love that. I love Kyle Shanahan. I love San Francisco. New Orleans is terrible. They're a dumpster fire with Dennis Allen. We all knew that was going to happen. We saw how bad Dennis Allen was.
Don't tell Saints fans that. I had them going 7-10, and you would have thought that I took a shit on Bourbon Street. Jesus.
Yeah. I also dealt with some of that, dude. Again, they could be starting Ian Book, and they'd be like, "We're the best team in the NFL, man." You're like, "Shut up, dude." But no, just Dennis Allen's a really bad coach. We saw it with Oakland at the time, Las Vegas now, but we saw it with the Raiders. And he's a really good defense coordinator. They should have kept him at defense coordinator and tried to get another offense coordinator or another head coach and kept their offense coordinator and defense coordinator that they had for the last 5 years. Like that was the smart thing to do. They didn't. They elevated up inside of their franchise or inside of their organization, and it just wasn't smart. Dennis Allen is going to not have a job next year, and because of this, now you're losing a great defensive coordinator who is still continued to have a good defense. Their defense is still good. They just have a terrible offense. Even though like statistics show it's because Andy Dalton is so bad that their defense is letting up points. It's still a very good defense. Now you're just losing Dennis Allen. It was a terrible judgment call by the owner. They didn't know what they were doing. By the GM, they didn't know what they were doing. I hope Dennis Allen gets a good defensive coordinator job because he deserves it. But the Saints are terrible right now. I don't understand why Andy Dalton is starting for that freaking team. I don't know. Give me San Francisco by 38 in this game. Like there's just no chance. Like New Orleans hangs around.
I've harped on this a few times this season, but it's just absurd to me that Peter King, a man that I have the utmost respect for, coming into the season was like, you know what? The Saints can go to the Super Bowl. I'm just like, what? You think that Dennis Allen and Jameis Winston are going to take the New Orleans Saints to the Super Bowl? Like,
it's terrible.
Oh, man.
And kudos for trying to be different. You know what I mean? Like, we put out season predictions, and we do not try to follow chalk. Like, you got to make some bold claims, but that's a little too bold. You know, that's a little too much.
There was, I was in a, when I was still with 33rd team, and we were in a, it's like a seminar Zoom call and whatever. And Greg Cosell was saying similar things. You know, he had just gone down to New Orleans for training camp. Mm-hmm. He said, yeah, but they look as good as any team coming into the year. So, I mean, there was a few people that were really high on them. Look,
then it just turned out they were just really high.
Yeah. I mean, defensively, we know that they're good, and we know that Alvin Kamara is good. Outside of that,
we know Olave is good, and we know Michael Thomas is good if he can play.
Yeah, But outside of, I mean, I don't know. I've never been a big Michael Thomas guy myself. No,
he just doesn't play. But I think when he was on the field, he was always a really talented player.
No one defends themselves more than Michael Thomas does.
Yeah, that's true. That's 100% true. I don't like that about for sure. I don't like his charisma or his character, but I thought he was a good NFL player that one time 4 years ago.
That one time when he had 19 targets a game, running 3 yards downfield and got 140 catches because Drew Brees was his quarterback. Yeah, he was pretty solid that year.
He was a great. That was fun times. You know what I mean? Just graduating high school. No, I wasn't.
But yeah, 49ers. They should cover this game.
Yes. What was the spread?
8.5. 8.5.
Makes sense.
Over under 43. I might take the under in that though.
You don't think Jimmy G puts up 4 touchdowns again?
No. I feel like that's not happening in consecutive weeks. We know who Jimmy Garoppolo is, and he's not that.
Yeah, actually, I just went and picked him up in fantasy football because my team, I've been started out with Derek fucking Carr to start the season, and had been struggling with quarterback. Had Jared Goff for a little bit, who was like okay, but then wasn't okay. Jimmy Garoppolo has been such a fine fantasy football quarterback. Like if you're looking for anyone for this home stretch, like you were like me, where you're still just struggling to find a quarterback, like Daniel Jones was your guy or something like that, or even if you have like Tom Brady, who's putting up shitty fantasy points week in and week out. Target Jimmy Garoppolo, even with him, like he probably will throw 2 to 3 touchdowns every single week with Christian McCaffrey and Debo. They won't be long touchdowns, but
yeah,
George Kittle, like, he'll throw touchdowns.
Yeah,
whatever. Touchdown's a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need long touchdowns in fantasy.
No, you do not.
All right. Green Bay and Philadelphia is the Sunday night game. So we'll have Tirico and Collinsworth in the booth for that. This one I'm so intrigued by. Like each week I keep waiting for like Aaron Rodgers to just fucking say, you know what? I'm going to throw for 300 yards. I don't give a damn who I'm throwing it to. And it just hasn't happened yet. Philadelphia doesn't really have a big win on the year. They've struggled the past month or so. I'm tempted to go Green Bay here. They're 6.5 point dogs. It's in Philadelphia. I do think that Green Bay can win it. I think that they're going to cover regardless. Plus 250 money line though. That could be some good value.
Seems like a trap game. Philly showed that they can be beat. You know what I mean? They've shown they're not the best team in the NFL. And in fact, we always knew that. Like the Lions almost beat them week 1. Like they didn't, but they almost did. So I mean, if that was the case, you know they're not that good of a team. Philadelphia is not anyone I'm really hating my. If they're representing the NFC in the Super Bowl, NFC ain't winning the Super Bowl. I don't like Philadelphia as a team. I don't know. They have a really good defense though. Their secondary is great acquisitions by Howie Rozelle throughout the offseason. Way to get like oh my God, who's that safety? CJJ.
Yeah, they got CJ Gardner-Johnson. They just signed Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh last week.
Yeah,
anybody who's like was good 2 years ago who's still available, like fuck it, bring him in. Why not?
Yeah, he's still got legs. All right, bring him in. We'll take him. That Jordan Davis loss was huge for him. But you're right, dude. This seems like a trap game. It seems like I mean, what is Aaron Rodgers doing at 4-7? Where are they going to go? Like, I've just never seen Aaron Rodgers at 4-7. I've seen him at 4-6, and he told everyone to RELAX, and we did. I've never seen him at 4-7 before. I don't know.
Packers' remaining schedule to see what could happen down the stretch for them. Dude. All right, so they got Philadelphia this week. If they win this week, they're 5-7. They go to Chicago, who might be playing Trevor Siemian. Could be 6-7. Then they host the Rams, who's probably going to be without Matthew Stafford. Could be 7-7. And then you're 7-7. Christmas Day, you go to Miami.
That'd be fun, too. Oh, man. Christmas Day
to Miami.
To go to either 8-7. And the NFC is trash. 7-7 is legitimately playoff bound. You know what I mean?
Even if they lose that game, even if they're 7-8 with 2 weeks left, they got Minnesota, who they rarely, if ever, lose to twice in a year. And then they finish off with Detroit.
We beat them.
I'm not quitting on the Packers yet. Just because the NFC is too thin and there's not a lot of good teams there. It just feels like this final stretch, this could be where it's waiting a while to get going. But everybody says, all right, the season starts after Thanksgiving. Well, after Thanksgiving, they have a very winnable, like they could very easily, I could see them going, 5-1 or whatever down the stretch and somehow sneaking into the 7th spot over a team like Seattle, who I think is going to get worse down the stretch. Like
they could finish 8-9. You know what I mean? Or
they could get in at 8-9 depending on what happens.
Yeah, 8-9. Yeah, exactly. But it all starts here. It all starts in Philly because you go to 4-8. Man, I don't think there's ever been an NFL team to go 4-8 and make the playoffs. Like it's just that hill is too hard to climb in my opinion. But 4-7, you go to 5-7. I like it. I'm taking Green Bay +6. I'm not touching anything else. I like Green Bay +6, but I hate Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, so I hope they lose.
Oh man, I am fascinated by this. This is gonna be the one of the things I clip from the show is I'm not giving up on the Green Bay Packers quite yet. Like this is
it's a smart call because you can never give up on Aaron Rodgers. You can't.
No, you can't.
Two-time MVP, back to back.
To go from if they do pull this off and go from 4-7 to like 9-8, that's plus depending on how the playoffs shape out. So let's say that if they're 9-8, they could very well be the 6th seed. Who are they going to draw if they're the 6th seed? Probably either Tampa Bay,
Minnesota,
maybe Minnesota, or the winner of the NFC West, depending on how that goes.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Yeah, if they get Minnesota,
I'd
probably take Green Bay in playoffs. Like in Minnesota, in a dome. If it wasn't in a dome, I probably would take it. But Kirk Cousins, no, thank you. Let's move that game to 8:00, and it's a guaranteed win for Green Bay. You know what I mean?
Hey, Kirk Cousins just won a game in a primetime slot.
That's right. That's right. Actually, technically, I guess it would because it was prime. It was the last night. So, technically, like before the season started, the Lions technically had 0 primetime games, even though we played on Thanksgiving at noon. So I was like, no, we have one primetime game.
Standalone games and primetime games are different.
That must be it. Exactly. Yeah. So that was a primetime game because that was the 8:30 game. So way to go, Kirk Cousins. Monkey up.
Good job, Kirk.
Way to go, Kirk.
I'm fascinated by the Green Bay Packers, though. That is going to be the one thing I'm keeping an eye on because if they win these next 3, go into Miami 7-7. Miami's schedule, by the way, is a little bit difficult too, so they could be limping into that game, depending on what happens. So that's going to be a fun one to watch on Christmas.
Will.
Let me pull up the final game. Oh, God. All right. Monday night, my Steelers head to Indianapolis. They are 2.5-point dogs on the road. Selfishly, I hope the Steelers just lose out. I don't care anymore. Lose out. Realize that Kenny Pickett isn't the guy. Draft somebody else. They're not going to draft somebody else. They'll end up with probably Paris Johnson, the tackle from Ohio State. Or Will Anderson. Why the hell not? Give me Will Anderson opposite of TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. Sure.
I agree.
Part of me really thinks that Indianapolis might have made, like, everybody shit on the Colts that entire week after the Jeff Saturday thing. And then he goes out and beats Vegas, comes within a point of beating the Philadelphia Eagles, the final undefeated team in the league. I don't know. This is not a good Steelers team. They should be. They got a lot of good skill position guys. Defensively, I know that they've been missing TJ Watt. But since they've got him back, the defense has looked pretty solid. Granted, they just gave up 37 points and 3 touchdowns to Samaje fucking Perine. I don't know, man. I'm leaning Indianapolis in this. I think that right now, they're the better team. They're the better defense. Zaire Franklin has had a really solid year for them at linebacker. Secondary wise, like there's not a lot of big names on that side of the ball for them, but they've played really well this season. Yeah, man. I like the Colts in this. And selfishly, I hope they do.
I'm going to disagree. I think this is one of those games where it's going to come down to coaching. And though Jeff Saturday hasn't been bad, and you're right, 1-point loss to the best team in the NFL technically, and a win against the Raiders.
The Raiders and Josh McDaniels. How funny is that, by the way? Like, can we harp on that for a minute? The Raiders hired Josh McDaniels, who has parlayed being Tom Brady's offensive coordinator into 2 separate head coaching gigs and has sucked ass in both of them. Yep. And the Raiders in a must-win game at home against a guy who's never coached in college or the NFL.
And just tweeted out how bad the Raiders were.
He wasn't been licking his chops, be like, "Oh, yeah, this is going to be good." It's so funny, and it's nothing against the Raiders organization, but it's so Raiders of them to lose that game.
They're a terrible organization. Lions are too, though. So it is what it is. This game is crazy. I just think Mike Tomlin's a better coach than Jeff Saturday.
That's a bold take you got there, bud.
So I'm going to rely on the coaching here. Kind of a trap game. Colts look good. They're going to be doing a lot, but this is going to be the first big Monday night game for Jeff Saturday as a coach. Too much stress, too much stuff going on. It's just going to be a Pittsburgh win. Kenny Pickett has played. I mean, they lost by 7 to Cincinnati. They beat the Saints. well, we won't talk before that, but the last 2 weeks they've been looking okay. You know what I mean? Najee Harris looks like a competent running back again. All of a sudden, like he remembers how to play football. I just think things are kind of starting to click for Pittsburgh. Not so much where like, oh, playoff run or anything like that, but just they're starting to move the needle a little bit in the direction that they originally wanted to, and we're finally seeing that. And I think they're going to win this game on Monday night. And Kenny Pickett is going to start earning the respect of a lot of Pittsburgh fans. I think with this game, he's going to do something kind of fun and crazy, and Pittsburgh fans are going to be like, oh shit, huck it, chuck it, fucking Pickett.
I don't think that's going to happen.
We'll see.
Yeah,
how where does Zach and Miri make a porno rank in your movies? Just because it's based right in Pittsburgh and stuff like that. Does that go top 10 because of like being in Pittsburgh and seeing all the Steelers fans? Like,
I've got to be honest with you. Like, I know of the movie, never seen it.
Oh, bro,
is that one I gotta watch?
Fan, not as a comedy fan, as a movie fan, as a Steelers fan, you have to watch that movie, brother. You have to watch that movie. I don't think there's any Pittsburgh Steelers in it, but there's fans. There's Steelers fans in it, and it's so funny. You just gotta watch that, dude. It's on. I think it's on Amazon Prime, or maybe it's on something different. I don't know. It's streaming somewhere. Dude, you have to watch that movie. There are Steelers fans in it, and they are so funny in the movie. They make the movie so funny, and that's why I figured it was in your top 10. Just because.
Yeah, no, I apologize. There's just a fun fact about me. There's just a bunch of movies I just haven't seen.
That's okay. There's a lot of movies out there in life, I'm telling you. But as a good comedy movie, you'll want to watch it. You'll thank me later. I promise. I
feel like this is a movie that you would love. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you ever seen the greatest cinema experience in history? Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping.
I've seen Pop Star.
Oh my God, that's in my top 10.
That is a great. All of his he does one where he's like in the Wimbledon, like the longest like Wimbledon match of all time, and it's like this 10-day match, and it's just Andy Samberg and like one of the other dudes from Lonely Island Boys, and they just play this like 10-day long tennis match, and it's so funny. It's just like Pop Star, Never Stop Popping. But like,
that's another movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's hilarious. It is like at one point throughout one day, Andy Samberg just has like sex with this one girl on the tennis court in front of like all the Wimbledon audience, and that's just how one of the days gets passed. And it's just a 10-day tennis match, and like random shit happens throughout, and that's why it gets prolonged 10 days, and it's super funny. But isn't in Popstar doesn't Seal end up getting like doesn't he like get like eaten or he dies or something like that?
I think so. Yeah.
That movie is just so funny. That movie's so good. I actually waited on Andy Samberg at my old job, and
did you?
Nice guy. Yeah, great guy. We laughed. He did a show in Detroit with the Lonely Island Boys, and he was a great guy to wait on. We didn't like have a too deep of a conversation, but it was fun. I waited on Nick Offerman. He was really cool.
Nick Offerman, dude. Nobody makes me laugh just by talking like Nick Offerman does. Like
I was cracking up waiting on him. I was like, "Hey, my name's Nick. Good night. I'll be waiting on you." And he's like, "Great name." I was like, "Throw right back at you, dude." Like, you're the fucking man, Nick.
My name's also Nick.
Yes. And so I was like, "Eggs and whiskey for breakfast?" And he was like, "Just the eggs." I was like, "All right. Coffee black herd."
He was John Oliver did a thing. It was about purity culture in school and like how it should be taught, and like in the final feature of it, Nick Offerman's in it, and they're showing like the different body parts, and I can't remember who was saying what, but some guy was like, "This is a penis," and then Nick Offerman comes up and it's a picture of a butt. He's like, "This is a butt."
What is this in? What was that in?
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's awesome. That is awesome.
So funny.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah. Nick Offerman's great. Steelers Colts, by the way.
Steelers.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are going to wish that they were drunk by the third quarter. It's going to be a boring game.
I'm not going to lie. I hate listening to those two talk. It's the worst.
Oh, see, I'm the complete opposite. I love both of them.
Good for you. That must make watching the Monday night game a lot better for you.
I've always loved Joe Buck. He's always just been somebody that like,
you might be on an island there, bud. Like
I understand I am. And like people always complain, he doesn't put enough emotion into it, but fail to realize that, the reason that he doesn't is because when he does put emotion into something, that something big's happening.
Right. No, that doesn't bother me none. But I hate that how arrogant he is. He sounds like someone I would just fucking punch in the face
really?
if I had a conversation with. Like, just start punching away nonstop. Like,
I don't think I've never had a conversation with somebody that's met Joe Buck to know how he is. I've never met him personally, so
right.
I don't know.
Right. And then Troy Aikman, he's just terrible. Like, I want someone who to break down the game, and he just doesn't. He's given up on
Aikman cracks me up, dude, because like at least 4 times a game is going, well, back in my playing days, when we did this, and I'm like, oh, Troy, you just miss the game so much, don't you, buddy?
I do love listening to people reminisce about that. That's why it was tough to watch Thanksgiving without John Madden this year, first one ever, So rest in peace, John Madden. Like, it was a tough Thanksgiving, but
I'll tell you one thing though, and it's not to crap on them as people. Joe Tessitore and Booger McFarland, at least we don't have that anymore.
Holy crap, Oli. I'll listen to Joe Buck and Troy Aikman in my sleep all day instead of that was just terrible. And then who they had last year? It was Brian Greasy.
Oh, yeah.
Louis Riddick,
Brian Greasy.
Steve, that's terrible there too. Isn't Orlovsky doing
Orlovsky? Yeah, so they've done a few games this year, and it's been
I love
Steve Levy. Yeah, I love Orlovsky. He's great.
I love him.
He took Greasy's spot because Greasy's the quarterback coach in San Francisco now.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when Brian Greasy came into the NFL. Took over for John Elway.
Yeah, that lasted.
Yeah.
Then old Jake the Snake Plumber took that.
Old Jake the Snake came in. Nice. I was wondering if you knew how long we go. Yep. Yeah, I just went to Akira. So then it was the Kyle Orton, Tim Tebow.
I was gonna say, let's play the Denver Broncos quarterback lineage game. So it started. All right. So Elway to Greasy to Plummer to Jay Cutler to
Kyle Orton
because they traded once McDaniels became the head coach
to Tim Tebow
and then Peyton Manning because they lucked into that. Brock Osweiler,
Trevor Siemian, Paxton
Lynch, Trevor Siemian, some Case Keenum, Joe Flacco's in there.
Who was the wide receiver that started quarterback for him at one
Kendall
time?
Hinton.
Hinton. Yeah. We got to add his name in there. Yeah.
And now, I mean, we touched on Derek Carr's annoying religion. I think that Russell Wilson is just slightly more talented Tim Tebow.
Dude, Russell Wilson. Was it always Pete Carroll?
You know what, man? It might be.
Was it always Pete Carroll? And Russell Wilson just was never that good, but was better than Matt Flynn. So like Pete Carroll was like, at least Wilson. And then he like got this Super Bowl run because he was having some unbelievably like lucky, unexplainable magic, and then just an amazing defense. And he just did enough to get to the NFL. But he won the Super Bowl, and everyone was like, Russell Wilson, did you see these amazing passes he was throwing? And it was like, yeah, but it was Javon Curse who made that throw. Yeah, terrible pass. It was a great catch. You know what I mean? Maybe we
were robbed of Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
absolutely robbed of that.
Yeah, we really were. But again, I hate Green Bay, so I'm okay with it. And I kind of hate Russell Wilson, and so I was okay with New England winning it.
I don't know Russell Wilson as a guy, but he's so easy to root against, is he not? He's just so goddamn corny and cheesy, and everything's about God. And
just again, spare me on people who push the religion on me. Like you can be awesome religious, like you can be like super. Like Kirk Cousins is one of the most. I waited on him a couple times when I worked at Michigan State.
Oh yeah,
and him and his whole family would sit there and say this like 3-minute long grace, all holding hands, all heads down. Like I couldn't wait on them until they were done, all that stuff. And that's cool. That is fine. Like my family is very religious. Like that is okay. The second you start going, you need God. That's when I'm like, okay, dude, like just don't. And that's what Russell Wilson does. So spare me on that.
As somebody who is kind of like agnostic and I'm just like, I don't think anybody really knows if there is one or not. I just spare me.
Yeah. I believe in everyone. You believe in your own religion, dude. Have like that. A lot of times religion isn't about believing. Religion is something that helps you get through life. And that's
exactly.
People need that. And that's great. My wife's a Buddhist. I love that. I love the Buddhist ideology. You know what I mean? My family is Catholic. Like I'm open to everything. Like I'm not an atheist, but I'm not just like anything. I'm just everyone is welcome and loved by me,
As long as you're not a dick.
Or a Bears fan. Yeah.
Don't be a dick or a Bears fan. All right.
Those two just coincide. So, we're.
I cover the Bears, sir. I'll have you know.
Are you a Bears fan or do you just cover?
No. I just cover.
See, that's different. Yeah.
Read my stuff on USA Today. Shameless plug.
Yeah, way to be.
Yeah. This is a fun hour and a half, buddy. I'm glad that you joined me for it. What would you like to plug before we get out of here?
I do a show on the Detroit Lions called Honolulu Blues. Make sure you go listen to it. It's really fun. And then if you're into fantasy football, go to the Undroppables and find DFS Uncensored. I co-host that fantasy football DFS show as well. Thank you for having me on, Jared. This was a fucking blast, dude.
You know what, buddy? Anytime you want to do this, I don't know what your schedule looks like, but I'm going to make sure this is on camera. I want a permanent co-host of this goddamn show, Nick Faber.
Oh my god, bro! You might be barking up my alley, to be all honest. I've been looking for like a nice football show to do. Like nothing that fantasy wise. Like let's have my people talk with your people, and let me not commit to anything on time because I did just get married, so I got to figure out a few things. Okay. But I love that idea, and seriously, we'll get off the show. We'll start DMing, and I might be back next week, and we'll give it a little trial run. You know what I mean?
I would very much love that. Can I be honest with you and say that the entire show, I was holding in, still laughing about that Budweiser commercial joke you made in like minute 1. Jesus Christ, that was.
I'm serious though. I do cry over that shit. Like that fucking when that dog meets the horses and he lets them out and they get to meet their family. Like. I'm like bawling like tears, dude. Shit gets me emotional. Having a daughter will change your life, dude. You know what I mean? Emotional.
I don't know if I want kids, Nick. I mean, I've got an entire life to look forward to, and I'm still relatively.
I love my kid, but I don't recommend kids to anyone else.
You know what? Duly noted. I don't know, man. Can't do it. I'm too impatient of a person.
Yeah, kids will definitely teach you to be patient. I was also like that, and I still am like that, but every day is a little bit better, you know, a little more patient.
A little bit better. All right, I'm going to see who won this game because I bet Ohio State.
Michigan's winning by 11 last I knew.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not.
It's the last time I bet on college football.
8-point lead for Michigan, 7.5 to go. I should probbe go watch this. We should probably end this shit.
Yeah. All right. Hey, buddy, I appreciate you.
I didn't really mean to do that. Hello.
Hey, I appreciate you. This is a lot of fun. Honolulu Blues. Check out Nick Faber. Follow him on Twitter at Nick Faber NFL. My stuff. Subscribe to this, by the way, wherever you get your podcasts. Pump Fake newsletter as well. USA Today stuff for the Bears, 49ers, Panthers, all the Sports Illustrated shit too. Well, you know where to find me at JBL NFL on Twitter. Hey, buddy, this is fun. Yeah, my people will talk to your people. We'll see what we can do. All right.
I love it, dude. Thanks again.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Peace.